Shockingly, Diddy has spent years trying to silence rumors of his involvement in Tupac's murder, even resorting to violence. A new lawsuit filed in California alleges he sexually assaulted a woman after she suggested he was linked to Tupac's death. Allegedly, Diddy brought his guards and female celebrity friends to witness the assault. The disturbing details paint a horrific picture of power, control, and intimidation in his efforts to bury the truth.
She says she believed that Diddy had something to do with the murder of Tupac Shakur and said as much. Allegedly, Diddy warned her that she would pay for saying something like that. So let's just fast forward now to a month later, where she says this guy, Shane, invited her to come to his apartment. And the lawsuit says, quote, plaintiff and defendant Shane then began to watch a movie, and defendant Shane offered her a glass of water, which he retrieved and brought back to the plaintiff. A few minutes later, Ashley Parnham says that P. Diddy showed up with an entourage, including his top aide, Christina Coram, an unnamed woman who is not a defendant in the suit, and 3 unnamed men, one of whom she says was Diddy's driver, and Parham says that that driver waited outside throughout the whole of what I'm about to tell you. Parham says that Diddy was antagonistic from the start and that he put a knife to her face. And now this is where I start reading directly from the complaint. Defendant Shane then partially undressed plaintiff, and then defendant Diddy removed the remainder of plaintiff's clothing, removing the knife from her face, and then retrieved a bottle of liquid from a large fanny pack. Defendant Diddy then squirted a bottle of liquid on plaintiff, which placed her in fear that she was being squirted with a chemical substance like acid. Plaintiff soon realized the substance was an oil/lubricant. Plaintiff was squirted with this liquid substance all over the entirety of her naked body. Defendant KK was then told by defendant Diddy to insert what looked like a syringe from sterile packaging into plaintiff's vagina. Defendant KK did as told, and then told defendant Diddy that she was unable to use the IUD because it had prematurely been released from its packaging, and an IUD is a birth control device. Defendant Diddy, upset by this, took the so-called syringe from defendant KK and tried inserting it into plaintiff's vagina instead. Defendant KK and Diddy began to argue as defendant KK continued to advise defendant Diddy that since the IUD had been prematurely released from its packaging, there was no way they could insert it into plaintiff's vagina effectively. After some time, defendant Diddy heeded the advice of defendant KK and removed the syringe from plaintiff's vagina and handed it to defendant KK. Defendants KK and Jane Doe then exited defendant Shane's residence, leaving the plaintiff alone with defendants Diddy, Shane, and Doe's number 1 and 2. Defendant Diddy then picked up a television remote that was near to plaintiff and violently inserted it into plaintiff's vagina. Defendant Diddy, while violently raping plaintiff with a television remote, told plaintiff that her life was in his hands and that if he wanted, he could, quote, take her, and she would never be seen again. Plaintiff began hysterically crying from the threats by Diddy, along with the pain of being violently, vaginally raped by defendant Diddy with the television remote, as well as the lingering pain from the ordeal with the IUD syringe insertion. Defendant Diddy then instructed defendant Shane to turn plaintiff on her stomach, seemingly tired of hearing plaintiff's blood-curdling cries. Defendant Shane then grabbed plaintiff by her abdomen and hips and turned plaintiff on her stomach. Defendant Diddy then instructed defendant Shane to put a pillow over her head because he didn't want to see her face or hear her cries, and instructed defendant Shane to anally rape plaintiff. Defendant Shane did as he was told by defendant Diddy and began to anally rape plaintiff. Defendant Diddy then violently raped plaintiff anally after defendant Shane.
50 Cent's upcoming docuseries will expose the full details of Diddy's alleged crimes, with reports suggesting he's been gathering evidence for decades. He promises to reveal undisclosed facts, shedding new light on the case and bringing hidden truths to the public for the first time.
Speaking of, in particular, Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Diddy Do It.
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you said you weren't a part of that lifestyle. You weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations. I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else. But I did feel uncomfortable with the way he would present the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah. And then that swayed me away from it. Just that alone.
So you didn't realize
as much stuff was coming. Like, when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them. And it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like, when people don't remember being violated for 20 years, it makes me feel a little hard.
What are your thoughts on the allegations against Jay-Z?
That was interesting. When I was saying things, not knowing exactly what I was saying, I was going with, like, where's Jay at? He's mad quiet. Like while the Puffy thing was going on. But it's obvious now that his team was being made aware that he was in those allegations also. You know, so I hope it works out, because with his family, the things that go on internally is...
Sources close to Diddy, including Gene Deal, claim he didn't act alone in the murders and cover-ups. Allegedly, even the government was involved. Diddy has ties to powerful figures, including New York Mayor Eric Adams, who reportedly helped conceal his crimes. With deep connections to some of the world's most influential people, Diddy has managed to evade justice for years. These ties have allowed him to survive in the industry and escape accountability. But as new evidence emerges, the truth may finally come to light.
And once they find the criminal activity in those, they could bring them in. Now, did the Federal Bureau of Investigation in Miami do it? No, they didn't. Did California do it? No, they did not. The Southern District of New York, they took it upon themselves and put on that raid and everything based on the information they found in Cassie lawsuit and the information they found in Little Rod lawsuit. But all this is bigger than Diddy. It's bigger than Diddy, bro. Because you know who else they was doing investigation on during that whole time period? It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City. They turn around and give him the key to the city. All the mayor people that he brought on here in New York City are all resigning. They all resigning. People ain't gonna tie this together, but if you look at it, you have to say, because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuits that was put against him. Because the feds is going after all these politicians in New York City.
Yeah, the feds revealed that, anybody that, participated in any, criminal behavior at his freak-offs, they're going to pursue.
Listen here. The mayor here take like 15 spoons of sugar in his coffee. So it's all a possibility.
Do you think there's any celebrities on those tapes?
Bro, he gave celebrity parties. So what you think?
Diddy isn't the only one facing legal trouble. Jay-Z may be right behind him. On December 9th, a civil lawsuit was filed by attorney Tony Busby against Jay-Z, alleging the assault of a 13-year-old minor in 2000. The autistic victim claims Diddy and Jay-Z assaulted her at an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards in New York City. Jay-Z has strongly denied the allegations, calling them completely false. He insists the lawsuit is baseless and has vowed to take legal action against anyone making such claims. As the case unfolds, both music moguls face intense scrutiny and potential consequences.
Jay-Z is staying on the offensive going after not only the attorney who filed the rape lawsuit against him and Diddy, that would be Tony Busby, the attorney, but also the accuser. And he has filed a new motion this morning, which we're going to get to in a moment, but basically he wants to level the playing field with the accuser. But first, we got to start with this response that Jay-Z had to the allegation. Catch you up real quick if you hadn't heard, but a woman who had filed a lawsuit against Diddy back in October, alleging that he had raped her at a VMA after party in the year 2000 when she was only 13 years old.
Right. Remember, this is when she allegedly was given a drink. She felt woozy, and there was Diddy, and there was a male celebrity who was unnamed at the time, and also a female celebrity.
Well, that unnamed celebrity is now named, and she refiled the lawsuit on Sunday. She and her attorney, Tony Busby, refiled it and named Jay-Z as the unnamed celebrity involved in the rape. Jay-Z's response is extraordinary in that, look, we've seen all these lawsuits against Diddy, dozens of them now at this point, and frequently his response has been to deny it, but to say nothing else. Jay-Z went way more than just denying it. He did do that, but then went directly after the attorney. Part of his statement said, "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt from a lawyer named Tony Busby. It made me want to expose you, Tony Busby, for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny." This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. You claim to be a Marine? Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity.
This case is unraveling at a shocking pace, and the truth about Tupac's murder may finally come to light. With Keefe D accusing Diddy, Tupac's family launching their own investigation, and 50 Cent stepping in with a revealing docuseries, tensions are escalating. If these allegations are true, this could be one of the biggest scandals in hip-hop history. But what do you think? Will Diddy finally face justice, or is this just another distraction? Share your thoughts in the comments as this explosive case continues to develop. The truth may be closer than ever,